Welcome. I'm Jim Barentz, Executive Director of SABER Community, and today we're going to take a look at some of the advances that we have made in technology and have brought those in place for hurricane season, and hurricane season has not disappointed as a testing ground, and now ready to share with you some of the new ways that you can use SABER information in a variety of different platforms. So let's get started. And what we're going to do is take a real quick look at SABER, then look at Hurricane Sally as it's unfolded over the last few days, and then take a look at our technology advances by looking at the Hurricane Sally data and talking about what you can do with it. For those of you who don't know SABER, and I think most of you do, but to refresh, our whole purpose is to stay open longer and reopen faster for businesses, which after life-saving becomes a priority of the community to get their businesses back in business because that gets the community back in place. Founded as a nonprofit by an organizing group of the companies you see there, and the mission is very specifically to influence government recovery priorities and enable business-to-business collaboration through our providing of accurate, timely business information that can help a business stay open longer and get back in business faster. We do this in a variety of different areas that support FEMA's new, relatively new, ESF 14 infrastructure and private sector group through the different types of food, water, and sheltering, energy, and hospitals, clinics, and health areas. SABER works like this. One way is a fully automated connection, and you'll see one of those unfolding a little bit later on, live and connection between a business and the SABER XchangeCore, which is the way that we process the information. The second way is that a spreadsheet uploaded to SABER allows a company to maintain their own records in as standard and easy to use format as they want to. Jump onto saberspace.org and upload that information and have it transformed by XchangeCore. The third way is on saberspace.org. There are web status updates that can be made, and if you go in there and poke around, you'll see several of them for the pandemic practices that we'll also touch on later on. And then lastly, commercial mobile app in partnership with a company called Spot On Response have created a business emergency operations center. In a hand, that information exactly goes into SABER as well. And when that information goes in, it can come out in a number of different formats to just about anything that anybody uses. Web portals, incident management applications, geospatial operations, mobile apps, and even a free copy of Google Earth. And we'll take a look at some of these in the next few minutes. And here are some of the examples from the past of Florida and Georgia and Arizona and Google Earth and mobile apps and hurricanes and FEMA and a whole bunch of other folks that have employed the SABER data, and that's a key element. SABER is data. SABER data in their own applications, and that's what we consider to be success. And success actually has been awarded. Last year, the Chamber of Commerce, we were a finalist in the Best Disaster Preparedness and Community Resilience Program, and that's a finalist of 3 across the country. 2018 International Association of Emergency Managers, Partners in Preparedness Award, and before that, FEMA's Award for Technology Innovation in the Individual and Community Preparedness Program. So SABER's here, it's available, and let's take a look how it works over here with Hurricane Sally. First of all, let's give a little bit of history before we jump into the today activities. And September 10th, this Hurricane Sally started heading in the direction of the Gulf. Hurricane Laura was still lingering. So you'll see here in Louisiana, mostly a little bit on the Texas side, businesses that had remained closed since Hurricane Laura. That's an important new feature of SABER through our big data capabilities to be able to carry the volume, to carry past events as well. So we now see the intersection of these two hurricanes. Then on the Monday, September 14th, we began to add to that Laura information some preemptive closings for Sally. Walmart is one of those that has an automated connection that I discussed earlier, and we consider them a bellwether. As soon as Walmart starts closing, before any of the other companies have started to create their emergency operations center or building any of the business management techniques that they are putting in place to manage this emergency, Walmart's going to be there because we are getting Walmart updates every 15 minutes. So I can tell you 5 weeks from now whether a store had a broken pipe in Iowa and they had to close. So we're starting to see, if you look in this area here in the Alabama, Mississippi area, we're starting to see Walmart close. A couple of other things on this screen that are new to the SABER map. In order to contextualize the business status, we now are bringing in a number of different kinds of available live information. On the left-hand side, you see tropical storm tracking from the National Weather Service. We see the track that at that point was anticipated for Hurricane Sally that would move up the coast. On the right-hand side, you see National Weather Service weather warnings and advisories. Actually, one on the left is Hurricane Center, one on the right is National Weather Service, all of them part of NOAA. But you see these storm advisories, and we can take a look at those. So the SABER map has a more robust contextual environment. Tuesday, the 15th, as the storm approach, we start to see, and now this is illustrating Google Maps, that the coastline is largely closed. You see all the way through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, where they were anticipating at that point. And here it's illustrating a pop-up of the kinds of information that's being collected and shared out through SABER. As the hurricane rolled north on Wednesday, those preemptive closings also started to show further north. And here, this is a view from Virtual USA that's presented by the National Information Sharing Consortium that is using the SABER data in yet another application illustrating the way in which SABER data can move into just about any direction or organization. And here's another illustration. This is the Florida Disaster Maps, their open-close private business application. Here, again on Wednesday as it heads north, it started shifting direction as well on Wednesday, and the Florida Panhandle became more prone to the problem here. And here, as the hurricane has passed that intense side, as it headed north through across the Panhandle, you see this application based on ArcGIS. And they're pulling in SABER data. We've got 813 provided by SABER. Walmart's providing 56. There are 47 pharmacies that are closed there from healthcare ready. So the vast variety of applications data is coming in through SABER in this Florida instance. And then later on Wednesday, as the hurricane has headed inland, we see again, this view from the Florida Emergency Management Agency. So let's see what's happening on Thursday. We're going to do two different things here. We're going to take a look at SABER, or Sally, and we're going to learn how to get SABER data and what to do with it through a variety of different illustrations. And these begin with the SABER map. We'll then take a look at the Florida one in Google Earth, Virtual USA, and then do some other manipulation with the data using some of the new technologies that we have for being able to extract the data in a variety of formats that are best for you. So we start out the SABER map, saberspace.org. If I click on that, I'm going to bring up my SABER map for my Cyberspace website. You hopefully are familiar with that. If you're not, this is where the member login is and where you can enroll in SABER. As we go right here to the SABER map, we're going to see two different types of map now. One is the closed business map for real-time events, and the others are pandemic practices map, and I'll touch on that later, but our last webinar was on that. Currently, we're at 758 closed businesses, and that's down from around 1,075, if I recall, our biggest number. And new feature is that because we are focusing on business, you can now pick a specific brand name that's there. So if I want to come in here and all I want to see are the Aldi stores, let's see whether we have any of those. I come over here and I've got, a couple Aldis up here or one, I guess, up here, and that's located, where is that? In Pleasant Hill, where's my location? Street, address, city, there we are, Duluth, Georgia. And if I select again, I can see specific, other specific organizations here, or just hit the get details and I'll pull up all 750 of those that are now going to be part of this listing. And what this allows someone to do is filter the data in ways that they want to. And this is using the SABER map. SABER map, which is free, available on the Cyberspace website. In case you don't have the ability to take the SABER data and put it into your own application. So let's come back over here, because this is now going to illustrate some of the new capabilities in SABER. And we'll focus on these later, but up here was the SABER map, but now I can now go directly into that second SABER map. And after this question mark, query the information with some very specific parameters. For example, status equals closed. I only want closed buildings, and the name is going to be the market basket. So if I click on that, it's going to go off. You'll see it's not now, this information is not now wrapped in the website. It's an independent map, so you can get access to that now separately. And here are all the market baskets. There are 7 entries. These seem to be still closed from the Hurricane Laura, because they're all over there in the Louisiana area. And if I click on any one of those, I can see the specific information about that market basket and its current status. So that's one of the capabilities. Let's come over here and let's use another one, because just another illustration of the new ways that the parameters can be set. This bottom one, we're going to have its status is equal to close there. But now we've got a top left and bottom right. I'm going to build a bounding box and only going to bring in information in what if I recollect, this is the Florida Panhandle area. And we'll see here, that's sort of Florida Panhandle, a little bit north of Florida, but bringing in that information. And here we've got AT&T stores and CVS and lots of CVS pharmacies there. And how many do we have? We've got 183 entries there. So lots going on. So I'll change that. Now we can see the full range of businesses that we have there, some Sherwin-Williams paint stores and Tractor Supplies and Walgreens, and a whole bunch of those, some Walmarts down there. So that whole range of businesses now available. And again, you can get this as data, or you can use the SABER map to pull that information out. And again, if I zoom in here a little bit and I want to know what's happening over here at that CVS, here's my information about CVS right in the middle of Panama City there. And hopefully they're not too flooded, because last things I saw, Panama City was still very, very wet. So that's the SABER map. That's one way to visualize the information coming out of SABER. Now let's take a look at an ArcGIS visualization tool. This is the Florida disaster maps. So I click over there. We're going to bring that up live, looking at the data. And we've got all that coming up there, and we can see they're focused on the Florida activities. No, that's not what I want. One of these things over here. Yeah, there we go. So we've got Walmart, we've got SABER information there, we've got the tropical weather that you see. Now we're heading over, oh, that's about to hit my mom's house there in North Carolina. So another way to look at it, and this is the way that that data comes in. This is the SABER data comes up. It's a format of GeoJSON. You see the status is closed, so it's going to take all the closed ones. Florida, I actually believe, is using a latitude and longitude, but I'm not sure. And ArcGIS, true, because ArcGIS doesn't use some of the features of the Open Geospatial Consortium mapping applications. So what we've done is build the ability to restrict the information that ArcGIS chokes on, so that we now have this feature of ArcGIS equal true, which allows anyone to bring that information into ArcGIS. Now we're going to take a look at Google Earth as another way of looking at the information. And let's pop Google Earth up here, and let me turn that off. Google Earth allows us to take any of these KML. You see that? Output format equals KML. I'm just interested in my favorite store, or whatever that is, Hickory Farms. So I'm just going to see the Hickory Farms there. And the third one is format KML, status is closed. Now it's just Mississippi. So again, taking a look at different ways that you can manage this information. And you do that by putting this that information into right up here in this this line right over here to create SABER business status is closed. This is called a network link, and it allows you to always come right in here to the SABER status, click on that, and what I get is the entire country. And I'm going to grab this URL here, come in here, show you how easy it is to add a network link into Google Earth. I'm going to paste that. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say Mississippi. I'm going to say OK. We'll turn off all of those. And what we are ending up with is just the ones that are in Mississippi. And if we zip in here, we can click on those, and you can see that we're collecting that same information that we saw before. This one happens to be about a Walmart pharmacy. And just to prove the concept again, I'm going to turn off Mississippi. I'm going to come back in here to the network link. I'm going to put that in place and come over here, and let's do, this is Hickory Farms. And what we're going to find here is the Hickory Farms, which are in this area, it looks like. There we go, a Hickory Farms right there. So we got a few Hickory Farms that are affected by this. So, current status in Google Earth of Hurricane Sally. So let's take another look. And in that, we filtered by state, we filtered by name. And here we go. Now let's take a look at another one of those ArcGIS, but here we've got a couple of different ways that I want to show it to you, because National Information Exchange Consortium has created a teamed with SABER, and they have built this ArcGIS app for SABER status, and you can see all the things here from the entire country, and we can go in there and click on any of these folks, and there's a Walmart, and over here there's, boy, we've got lots of Walmarts down there, don't we? Well, here's the A&I Place Antique Store, and over here is going to be somebody else. There's the A&T store. So that is the result of transforming the SABER data into ArcGIS format and putting it into an ArcGIS app and hosted by the National Information Sharing Consortium on Virtual USA. For what that looks like, and here's the URL for this, and you'll have access to all these URLs afterwards. If I click on that, it's going to take me into the ArcGIS Services directory, which describes this SABER business status information, and there's all the stuff about it. And it allows you to go off to any ArcGIS, grab that data, put it into any ArcGIS, and they have a viewer here that allow you to view it in the ArcGIS viewer, and it will come up looking like this. So there's the same information that you saw, have continually been seeing about Hurricane Sally, but now in a different way. And again, click on that, and there's a Sherwin-Williams paint store that has been closed because of the hurricane. So we've got that whole array of things that are part of the ArcGIS. And now I want to show another tool set that we have here. This particular SABER query that are going to be output the format in JSON. It's going to be the status or close, but we're only going to want to look at CVSs. And I want to change these to be able to put them into Excel. So I'm going to come over here. I'll use an external converter that allows me to pop that up there. And the URL is up there. You'll get a copy of that. I'm going to enter the URL here. I'm going to put my CVS, you see it right over there, my CVS, load my URL. And then in a minute, it's going to come popping up here. And here is all that information converted into a format. And I'm going to save it as CVS Sally webinar. And I'm going to download that. I'm going to put it into my Sally folder here, save that, and now let's bring up Excel. Okay, we're going to open that. And there it is. There's all the data from SABER into a CSV format with all the field information that you want to have. It's the Lifeline Pharmacy, and it has names over here and stuff like that. So you're able to provide that information and pull that as new ways to get it out of SABER. Now, we've been showing you a lot of different ways to select the information, but now there's a whole new set of tools that allow us to format the information. And one of the formats, ways that it comes out, is in an HTML format. The whole purpose of this is to be able to just stick it right on your website. So I'll do that first. I'm going to pop this up here, and we're going to see this format comes out. And this is everything that was provided by Walmart in their automated feed. So I've got that, and here's all this information that they provided. But I can do things. I can, in this case, say, I don't need all that stuff. So you'll see this is the same thing right up to there, and then the and. I'm going to make my field map. I'm just going to use name, address, pharmacy on site, and status. It's all I want to have on my website about Walmart. If I click on that, instead of that great big long list, I've got 4 things: status, address, pharmacy on site, name. Here's the other one. This is all the data that's sitting inside of SABER, but I don't want that. I just want this little bit right here because I want to create a list of all the Walmarts that are available, just as an illustration. Then, sometimes you have the data, but you need to say something more about it. So we've created a capability where you can add to the data. So down here, same thing up here, status, on-site status. Then it's comma, emergency, and this little tilde equals Hurricane Sally. And by the way, this percentage 20, that's a space. If you ever type a space into a URL trying to search for some data, it automatically converts and adds this 20, percentage 20. So I've got this new thing at the back that says emergency equals Hurricane Sally. Well, what's that going to do? That tells me that in this way I'm using the data, and while I'm showing you in HTML so it's easy for you to see, it can go into any one of the applications that you've seen. What this is going to do is add to this that we got out before, 4 fields there, status, pharmacy, name. I've now added emergency, Hurricane Sally. So I can take somebody else's data and apply some additional information to it consistently so that I can do a better job of keeping the records about it, a better job of being able to provide the information and utilize it in a way that I want to use it. So that ability to create a standardized form of new information or transform existing information. If the name, status, okay. So let's say what Walmart's status is closed today, and I want it to just be closed, or it's not operational, and I want it to be closed so that it fits in with my other data. I can transform that information by saying over here, status tilde equals closed, and it will allow me to convert the data to something that is more usable in my final application. So that's the last piece. And that's right, forgot about this one. Let's come over here and see what we have down here. Yeah, we've got, let me put this over here, drop that down there. And this is mirroring my, my mobile app here. Actually, that's not doing it. That's a screen capture. Mirroring my mobile app. This is Spot on Response mobile app built for SABER. That's free and available to all members. What it does is allow you to very quickly go in and create a status so that just that quickly, if you're at a business location, you come in and say, we're open, we're closed, or as an individual, I'm not available to work. So it's got a very quick way to establish a status. To have something that you want to say, here's a spot report from, I happen to be logged in as Chad Ross from the Food Marketing Institute, borrowing his account right now. If I want to come in here and add information, I can do that, and I can do it in a number of ways, including dictate directly into my phone the status of this particular business right now so that everyone can know it right away. I can then submit that, and it goes off and it becomes part of the SABER information. So I can send in spot reports. Also, you'll recall from previous work that we have established a set of best practices for how you describe an emergency. a little bit about the situation. Most importantly, there are several categories about your damage to facility, lost stock, etc., employee availability, problem with utilities, whether you're using the generator or not, and whether you have problems with the customers getting to the store. This represents the transportation problems around you. Problem with financial transactions over there, and you check those off. And problem with supply of commodities. Are they available? Are delivery affected by the roads? Do you require credentials? So you can create this very quick business status report and share it first back to your company and secondly on to SABER. So each one of these goes first to the company and then secondly to SABER. And you can filter the information that you want to send to SABER, and you've seen some of the ways that we do that kind of filtering. So the last piece, so I've got my spot report, I got my status, I got my needs, and I come up here and there's the same, where do we have some of those other things? The same information that you're seeing here on ArcGIS, you're now seeing on the palm of your whatever this is, your phone. And if I come in here and I want to see, let's see what that one is there. I touch that, and then it happens to be the electronics store, and it's Staples. Okay, so we got Staples in, where is this? Fenton Road South in whatever the city is there. Crestview, Alabama, I think. Florida, Crestview, Florida. Anyhow, so you're getting that exact same information that we have over here on the big map on the palm of your hand. So let's take one more jump back to here and review quickly. Whole bunch of new query parameters. Well, actually, the formats aren't new. JSON, KML. HTML is a brand new format for output, and from HTML or from the JSON, you saw the CSV easily converted. We saw examples of filtering to get the information out by any one of the properties there. And you can also filter by value. So I can say, okay, I want my status field to be greater than 5. Multiple parameters and or combinations associated with that. And you can negate a value. You can go in and say, I want to see everything except pick a store. I don't want to see those because I know all about them. Or I only want to see my stores. Or when I look at everybody else's stores, I don't see them. And I keep saying stores, but obviously any data that gets in there. So this is emergency management data as well. We could be talking about shelters at this point. The geographic bounding box, you saw that in the ArcGIS output. Then we saw some of the ways to customize, how to transform a field name into a new name. I didn't actually do that one for you. But assigning a static value to a field or creating the field, we saw when we created the Walmart data with the hurricane or the emergency field in that. You can exclude fields and you can include fields. So as we saw that with the Walmart, where we had 20 or so fields, we only took 4 and then we added a 5th one. So all that's available in these guides. Guide to SABER data for consumers and a whole description of all the different query parameters that we have, as well as if you want to provide the data to SABER, a separate guide for that. All that's available to members when you're enrolled, which you can do at saberspace.org. So I want to make sure that you recall, and if you haven't seen it before, essential businesses do not need to reopen because they never close. This is a guide from 139,000 businesses across the country who were essential businesses who stayed open through the early stages of the pandemic. And there are key lessons learned here on businesses that want to reopen. And we're in a rush to reopen, making mistakes. This could be helpful. And now let me come in here. Let me unmute all participants. I've done that. So if anybody wants to ask a question, you can now unmute yourself and ask a question.
Yeah, hey, Jim. Thanks for the demo. It looks great. You were showing all the different impacts within the Hurricane Sally area. I was just curious, could you mention an agency or two that are using that data for hurricane response?
It's been published up on the FEMA platform, so I assume there's people spawning there. Florida, certainly, you saw the Florida one they were using. I don't know about Mississippi, and we've not actually ever had any contact with Alabama. Texas and that region, Region 4 routinely gathers our information. So there are a decent number of folks out there using it right now.
Great, thanks.
Anybody else? Well, then let me wish all of you an excellent month. We'll reconvene next month. My information is down in the bottom right-hand corner. Should you have any need to get in touch with me, with that, let me wish you all well. Stay safe